Tonight, a journey into the realm of terror as we present the brand new mini-movie, The Demon Strikes Back. Experience vicariously one of mankind's most frightening ordeals, a whirlwind ride into the jaws of the demon. Tonight, you will see this singular man, a member of the Asparagus Valley Cultural Society, attempt to escape from a straitjacket. Who is this maddened individual? How did he get into the jacket in the first place? What is an Asparagus Valley Cultural Society anyway? Provocative questions to be answered tonight. These are the hands of a cold-blooded murderer. You will see these hands at work in tonight's movie, Hands of the Ripper, as London's worst throat slasher rips and tears his way to infamy. Bloody hands eager to find the throat of a certain TV host, a man who each Saturday night shamelessly brings you this program called Creature Features. Boy, all the activities going on here in the Bay Area. In the next few weeks, a lot of things are happening in the genre of creature features, and I'm going to be spearheading a lot of them, an indication of my ever-growing popularity as a modest creature features host. Listen to this. Next Saturday, July 26th, I'm going to be hosting a special Saturday matinee of The Empire Strikes Back at the Fox Fremont Theater in the Hub Shopping Center in Fremont, and the first 20 couples who line up outside the box office will receive free tickets to see George Lucas's sequel to Star Wars. Don't forget, the first 20. And from noon until 1 o'clock, I'll be signing autographs in the lobby of the theater. Remember, the Fremont Shopping Center, in fact, can we show the card so they can write down all that information? That's next Saturday. If you want those free tickets, you better get there kind of early. Hey, listen to this. The annual comic book convention called the Baycon, that's got to take place July 26th and 27th, next Saturday and Sunday, at the University of San Francisco, and that's located in San Francisco at Fulton and Parker Streets. And for full information, call 661-1344. I'll repeat that one more time for you people in Milpitas who are a little slow on writing down phone numbers. 661-1344. And of course, they're going to have panel discussions, the Huckster's Room, movie programs. It's really going to be an exciting two-day event. Okay, also, I'm going to be making another personal appearance on August the 2nd at Starbase Central in Mountain View, and I'll have further details about that later tonight. Tonight's movie, Hands of the Ripper, it's really an excellent Hammer film from the early 70s, and we thought we were going to have the uncut version tonight. Unfortunately, we couldn't get that, but we do have an expanded TV version. This features a prologue you did not see in the motion picture theaters, and I'm assured by our film department that although we're not seeing the R-rated version, there's very little that we're not seeing. There were only a couple of scenes, very short, which have been excised from tonight's print. So you're still going to see most of the action. The film was directed by Peter Sasti. He was a Hungarian director. He came to England in 1956 after the uprising, and he went to work for Hammer, and he made Taste the Blood of Dracula, Dracula the Prince of Darkness, Countess Dracula, Doom Watch, and a Chris Lee production called Nothing But the Night. So, fine movie tonight, plus my mini-movie, The Demon Strikes Back, one of my best, I think, and the Asparagus Valley Cultural Society Remember that guy in the straitjacket? I wonder if he can really get out of it. How does one go about describing the Asparagus Valley Cultural Society, the comedy review now at the Phoenix Theater at 430 Broadway in San Francisco? Is it a satire, a parody, a musical comedy, a circus, a carnival? An irreverent put-on? Is it Animal House without the house? Words fail me in conveying to you the true essence of this unique three-man show. Well, maybe the Asparaguys can help us out there. And here are two of them here tonight, Penn and Teller. Pardon me, Penn?
Yep.
Do you mind telling me why are you trussing up your pal there?
Kicks.
Yeah.
I just do this every once in a while. We're doing a show. It gives him something to do because he won't talk to you, and also it's fun to watch him struggle.
Yeah, he doesn't talk at all in the show, and he
Not
hasn't
at
said
all.
a word since coming over to the set. He's always this way.
Well, more or less, yeah. He'll occasionally talk once in a while, and we and I do our best to shut him up.
Hey, Penn, I have a hard time, as you just saw, putting into words the Asparagus show. How would you sum it up?
Well, it's a very hard show to sum up. It's a collection of things that the three of us like to do and enjoy, and there's three of us, as you know. There's Weir Christopher, who's a classical musician, and there's Teller, who does magic in the show. During the show, he swallows 100 needles, 6 feet of thread, brings the needles up threaded, cuts apart the shadow of a rose, destroying the rose. He bleeds a couple times in the show.
Yes.
Yeah. And we all three of us escape from straitjackets. Yes, and I do juggling and
with knives and
fire eating and other sensationalist circus schlock.
Fire eating, can you do that for us a little later?
Yeah, I'm going to be doing that a little bit later.
Okay,
I thought that'd
great,
be appropriate
great,
for the show here.
You're doing sellout business most of the time. What do you feel there is about the show that has been so makes it so popular?
Well, it's got a lot of creepy stuff in it, and a lot of things that are unpleasant, such as straitjackets and things like that. But it's also a clean show.
Yeah.
And it's also a show that a lot of people come to, and it's kind of got some vaudeville feels and classical music and stuff like that. And so there's a little bit of all sorts of stuff, and it is predominantly a funny show. So people come to that and they enjoy the show and they have a good laugh on it.
How did you three fellas first conceive the idea to do a show like this? Did it evolve out of other ideas?
There was a group that Christopher, our other partner, had called the Otmar Scheck Memorial Society for the Preservation of Unusual and Disgusting Music. And that was a group that I saw when I was in high school and enjoyed. And I badgered Weir to quit that group and to add Teller and I in, Teller doing magic and me doing juggling and that sort of comedy stuff. And it's okay, he's not.
Is he okay?
Yeah, he's doing fine.
Yeah, okay. You know, you make the show seem very spontaneous and improvised, and yet it's not. It's a very carefully rehearsed show. How do you make it seem fresh every night after doing it for 2 years?
It's a difficult show to do. It's a very difficult show. What's it doing? It's a difficult show to do, and it requires a lot of thinking, and the skills are hard, and there's lots of hard musical skills and magic skills and things like that. So there's a lot to think about while it's going on, and that keeps it interesting for us as well. There's also only 3 of us, and it's 2 hours. There's lots of stuff to work on.
The show seems to function on many levels. It's satirical, it's farce, it's vaudevillian, but it also has an undercurrent of tragedy. Do you purposely put that into the show? Very
much so. Yeah, we're kind of obsessed with that kind of pain and fighting against impossible elements. There's a lot of death-defying things in the show, like we said, and a lot of just frustrating, uncomfortable things.
Another interesting thing about the show is you make the audience part of the show. You use people from the audience, and you act and play around the audience and with the audience. So what is your attitude about an audience?
Our attitude is that we're there together to get the job done of doing the show, and also when you're dealing with things like swallowing 100 needles, or 6 feet of thread and bring those needles up thread. You're dealing with very small props, and there has to be someone on stage to verify the things you're doing. Also, audience members put us in straitjackets, and also a lot of the stuff we do in the show is the kind of stuff that can happen in an audience and does happen in an audience.
Yeah. He got out of it.
Yeah, he does that occasionally.
Yeah. What's your record? What's his record time in
I'd
getting
say
out of the
about 1 minute and 10 seconds.
A minute and
That's
10
without
seconds.
me around.
Okay, well look, I want to see that fire eating act, so you two people stay right there. We're going back to the Hands of the Ripper, and when we come back, we'll burn them up, okay?
I hope so, yeah.
Great. Let's go back now to the Hands of the Ripper. Hands of the Ripper. Well, it wasn't too bad, huh, fellas?
That's pretty good, yeah.
Hey, these are two guys from the Asparagus Review at the Phoenix Theater in San Francisco, and when we come back from the commercial, we're going to see some kind of hokey thing that involves fire eating. Hey, Penn, it's just a big put-on, right?
Yeah. Feel it? Is it odd?
And now Penn and Teller from the Asparagus Review, which you can see at the Phoenix Theater in San Francisco.
Hello. We've been running in San Francisco now for a year and 2 months. And every Saturday night after finishing up my 2 shows, I come home and I watch Creature Feature. So when I was asked to be on this show, it was very important to me because it's the only show I've ever been asked to be on television that I watch. So I searched my mind and I said, what can we take out of the show that'll really get the kind of audience that we are? Well, I looked over the classical music and threw that out. I looked over the juggling, even though it's with knives, and said that's no good. Straight jackets, I said, hey, we'll use that early in the show, get it out of the way. What you people want to see is pain, suffering, unpleasantness, dismemberment, sickness, disease, hatred, revenge. So I looked through our show and found something that I think is pretty nice. It's fire eating. Now you say, yeah, come on, fire eating? Big deal, fire eating, man. We've seen people's heads get chopped off. Who wants to see fire eating? Think about it a little bit. First of all, this is in a studio. We could have an accident. This crew isn't that competent. Also, you have to think about what fire eating entails. Now I've got a torch here. There's nothing fake to it. It's just a regular torch. It's got cotton. It's got metal here. And you think about putting it in my mouth, and the first thing you think about is, he's going to get burned. Little burns, big deal. There's moisture in his mouth. All that moisture has to evaporate before he can get really hurt. Think about something else, the fuel I'm using. I'm using lighter fluid, regular old yellow and blue can lighter fluid. You've looked at that can, haven't you? Harmful or fatal if swallowed. And that's what I'll be doing, swallowing not much of it, but a little bit, a teaspoon, enough so that the old-time carny guys, I don't know if you ever met one, but their voices are destroyed. They've been going 15 years doing 20 shows a day, and they haven't even got a liver left. That's what I'm looking forward to. Also, there's something else I want to talk about, and that's the possibility that, oh, John could yell something, someone in the crew could scream something, and I could breathe in like this. Simple, isn't it? But when there's fire in your mouth, that fire goes right down the throat into the delicate cells of the lungs and makes it difficult for the body to carry the oxygen it needs to all the other parts of the body. So with all that in mind, sit back, relax. I'm going to hurt myself, and let's hope it's badly. This is a great moment, isn't it? Right before it happens, boy, you're thinking, geez, he's going to be really hurt. The air conditioning. This is wonderful. But that's not all, creeps. Nope. We've got more coming. Now, some of you may have tuned in accidentally thinking this was Saturday Night Live or something else. It's not. This is pain and suffering. And if you were expecting to see something gentle and pleasant, you're not going to see it here. And if you caught that last thing, it took you by surprise and bothered you a little bit, I bet this next thing is going to make you puke your guts out. Here we go. What do you think? Better than picking your nose and eating it, ain't it? Let's walk it home, Tom. And if you enjoyed watching that half as much as I enjoyed doing it, we're a great team. Back to you, John.
Thank you, Penn, and Teller from the Asparagus Review, now in its second year at the Phoenix Theater, and every indication that it's going to be continuing there. Sold out on the weekends, and sometimes even on the weekdays. Speaking of death, pain, and suffering, you're not going to want to miss next week's movie called Deep Red, an Italian psycho-shock thriller from Dario Argento. See a human being dragged to a horrifying death Saturday night on Creature Features in the Italian horror hit Deep Red. From Dario Argento, the director who gave us The Bird with the Crystal Plumage, and other films overloaded with psycho-shock. Who is the mad killer who strikes without warning, playing cat-and-mouse games of terror before plunging a keen-edged butcher knife into the flesh of his victims? The answer will terrify your psyche for the rest of your life after you see Deep Red, Saturday at 11:30 on Creature Features, if you dare. Boy, next week's show seems to be full of shock. Deep Red, plus Picto-Shock is returning to Creature Features. Remember Picto-Shock we brought you a few months ago? We have highlights from a classic motion picture by a classic film director. I know you're not going to want to miss Picto-Shock, one of the best features here on Creature Features. And you're going to meet the owners of the Starbase Central coming up from Mountain View. You're going to find all about that store down there. So next week looks like plenty of smoke, fire, and death. Just what we need here on Creature Features. See you then.